Now, earlier, a couple weeks ago, we mentioned that we were going to plant a fall garden of oriental plants and some lettuce and other salad crops. After 6 inches of rain a few days ago, our garden is mush, and so we're planting in our raised bed, which is fortunately in very nice condition today. Now, a little while ago, I put out some transplants of Chinese cabbage, and Chinese cabbage is in the same family as broccoli and cauliflower and the regular cabbage that we grow. These are all in the cole crop family. So in growing Chinese cabbage, you'll know by that they have the same pests, the same cultural requirements as other members of the same family. With Chinese cabbage, it can be eaten, it's very, very mild and can be eaten raw in salads, or it can be cooked up in a stir fry and does very, very well. But do be aware that it will get cabbage loopers. Cutworms can also be a problem, so keep an eye on it. Now, some other oriental plants that we want to put in for fall. Right here is tatsoi. And tatsoi is an oriental green. I can't wait for you to see as it grows this fall. It's also in the cole crop family, and it grows in a very small rosette of dark, very glossy green leaves. It's a very pretty plant. In fact, I grew some in my garden in Tulsa last year, and it makes a very nice border plant because it stays contained, and as I mentioned, has very dark green leaves. Now, I'll thin those out as they come up. That's something that you can harvest several times this fall and use in stir-fried cooking as well. Incidentally, tatsoi is one of the faster greens. You can harvest it within 40 days. And although we're about a month away from our first frost, being in a raised bed, we can use a row cover on there and protect them, although they are quite cold tolerant. Now, turnips are something that you've all probably sown in your garden already, but we're going to put in a late crop of Tokyo Cross hybrid turnips. These turnips are used quite a bit in oriental cooking. They're a very mild turnip. They're fully white, and usually you want to harvest them when they're golf ball size or a little bit larger. Very good tasting. And again, this is a fast crop, and so even though it's getting late in the season, late September, we can still have a garden crop this fall. Now, the turnips are quite a bit more frost tolerant than some of the other greens that we might sow, so we won't have to worry about covering them later on. Now, here's an oriental crop that I think is very interesting. You've seen chrysanthemums in the garden. They're in bloom right now. Well, this is edible chrysanthemum, or garland chrysanthemum. It also is used in stir-fry oriental dishes. The seed, as you can see, it looks like seed from a daisy or from a mum and other members of the composite family, very angular. And this was given to me by a gardener from out in Oregon named Peter Chan. And Peter was an immigrant from China, and he's written a book called Better Vegetable Gardening the Chinese Way. And he knows a lot of very interesting tricks about gardening. So we're going to try this seed from Mr. Chan and see how it does here in Oklahoma. Incidentally, garland chrysanthemum also will grow in about 40 days, so it's very, very fast. Last of all, we have some pak choi. You might also know this as bok choy. And some people confuse this with Chinese cabbage, although it is in the same family. It's a very fast-growing green, and it doesn't make a head like cabbage. Some people also call it celery cabbage because it looks like celery being straight up and down, but it doesn't taste like it at all. It's also a very mild green, and when you chop it up and use it in stir-fries, it turns a nice, bright, vivid green, adds a lot of color. Now, the pak choi seed that I have was given to me by some immigrants from Vietnam. They started a restaurant in Sapulpa, and they brought some of this seed over with them. They snuck it into the country and have given some to me to try here. So we'll see how that does. Now pak choi will need to be thinned because, as you can see, the plants get very large. So we have to thin these to about 8 inches apart once they come up. Now I'm going to sow the seed rather heavily. And the reason for this is that the seed was saved from some non-hybrid plants, and probably it's not quite as vigorous as seed that you might buy from a seed company. So they may not all come up, so I've sown that pretty heavily. With any of the cole crops, if you're going to save seed from the non-hybrid plants, as you know, they have to go through the winter time and flower the following year before you can save the seed. That's something you might want to try if there's a variety that you like in particular. So I'm going to finish up on these, water them in, and then I've got some leaf lettuce to plant. And we'll come back in a couple weeks and take a look at this garden and see how it's progressing.